Good morning. It was a while ago. I sat here and I did my makeup. I'm doing Project Pan, like I mentioned, so I have all the items in this little box that I'm trying to use up, and I am mixing light and darker colors. And by the way, Ralf is napping, so he might interrupt or wake up soon. I have about 50 minutes, but let's see. Also, I washed all my brushes yesterday. It feels so good knowing it's so clean. Okay, I thought we can talk a little pregnancy. I haven't recorded anything in English about my first delivery. My pregnancies are really similar. I had a pretty good one with Ralf. I was extremely swollen towards the end. And then otherwise, I didn't really have any specific pains. Nothing like a lot of people physically hurt so much in their backs and stuff. I mean, in the beginning, everyone is very, very tired, so I really struggled to have the energy at work, but this time it's different because I'm home, so when Ralf naps, I can kind of nap. But I have let's see, I don't know if anything is different this time. Well, the only thing that was different was my cravings. I last time wanted very salty things like olives and chips and stuff, and this time I was like, no, I cannot even imagine buying salty things. So if you haven't seen our gender reveal, we're having a boy, and I fully thought we were having a girl. And some part of me was like, just because we think it's a girl, it's gonna be a guy, or boy. And then the day of the ultrasound, I was like, Sergio, it's gonna be a boy, even if we think it's a girl. And it was. So it's, I guess, quite similar pregnancies. How I knew I was pregnant, because I was sure. I sent the recording to my friend. She had actually not heard it, so it was never spoiled to anyone before, but obviously anytime you are not too protected, anything can happen. But I was so sure I had my, like, this is TMI if you're not interested in this stuff, but I was sure I had my ovulation, and I knew like you have 48 hours and then it can't happen. So it was like beginning of the week, and then towards the end of the week, things went down. And I was like, you know, there's always a risk, but I don't think it's gonna happen. And we were not planning on having another one, although I was very positive towards having kids close in age. So I was not at all thinking that it has to wait a long time between them. Plus I was like, I'm gonna, you know, try to, you know, get back to my old body and then start working out and back to work and like, and then get pregnant and then be home again. And I'm like, I'm turning 36 this year. I was like, that's a long time. And now I'm gonna mix. This is so wrong color, but I'm trying to use up this product. It's very warm tone, but it actually kind of looks good once I put it on. I'm gonna use my sponge instead. I think I'm running out of this today. It's going down. It's been a struggle. Okay, I think it is the end of this product. I love this product, but I bought it online and didn't know the color, so it's very wrong color. It's a very warm, but it works. I did my self tanner yesterday, so I have a little bit of a different color to mix it in with. Anyways, gosh, I'm so out of breath. You're pregnant. Yeah, so how I knew I was pregnant, I didn't at all think about it after the moments. I just said, Sergio, anytime it can be a risk. And then I, like the first time I would bleed in my gum. It's a normal pregnancy sign that your gums gets really sensitive. So I'd wake up and I use retainers at night. So I was bleeding one day. I was like, huh. And then I was having massive amount of headaches, and I wasn't late. So when I did the test, that was the first day of the period was supposed to arrive. So I wasn't suspicious, but I just kept feeling like I was like this hormonally happy, filled romantic. I was like, oh, I feel very different. I was like, this is how I felt when I was pregnant the first time. And one symptom I don't have, that's like one of the first ones you might notice, is that you need to pee all the time. I didn't have it the first time, I didn't have it this time. So that's, you know, you can never read online and learn everything there. And then I started like, I guess I got suspicious and I looked up, and apparently, this is the weird thing, almost every woman's cycle has ovulation 14 days after your first day of your last period. And I looked it up and I was on 21, so it was a third week, not the second week. And so I was like, yeah, I guess I can't. It even said like, of all the things that might be irregular, that's regular. So okay. So I was suspicious throughout the month. And then as I got close to my period, I was out shopping and I was like, oh my God, I need orange juice. And the thing, oddly, Sergio went and bought orange juice that month. This was my like go-to pregnancy thing. And then once I gave birth, like that week, it just didn't taste the same. It was so weird. I was like, oh my gosh, this was like I can't even describe what it is to drink the orange juice. It's like everything you ever wanted. And then the coffee is like, ugh. And then after I gave birth, they swapped. The coffee was like, oh my goodness. And the orange juice was just orange juice. So it was almost sad. So after that day, like I was out shopping and I was like, I need to buy orange juice. Oh my gosh, I need to go home and just drink orange juice. And then I was just, hormones, you know, there's always a risk. And I just started thinking, and I bought a pregnancy test at the same time. So the next day I was like, I'm not late, but and then I started thinking like, okay, if I have a kid now, how old will he be, la la la. Went home, the next morning I do the test, it's negative. I am staring at that thing, I'm waiting and I'm waiting, it is negative. There is no sign of another line. I put the test down and I go to bed with Ralf. We were napping on the couch that day. We usually don't, but that day. And then I heard Sergio wake up and I was like, oh, I need to throw out the test. And while I was napping, or seconds before, I was just like, wow, I was so wrong. I really felt like I was pregnant, and I started imagining, and I was like, okay, maybe it wasn't the right time, and am I sad? Like, no, like I can have another month of free, maybe we should plan it this time. I started thinking back and forth and just really felt like I knew my body. Went to bed, wake up, here's Sergio, and I was like, I'm gonna throw the test so he doesn't get confused what's going on. I go in and I see another line and I'm standing there and I'm like shaking and nervous. I'm like, because I know that when there's a line, it has found the hormone that the line shows up based off. So even if the test was old, I know you're not supposed to have like old tests, but I was like, it's just been like 45 minutes, an hour. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, is this true or not now? Could this be a mistake or not? But I was like, I'm so sure. And then I wanted to go to Sergio in the loft, and I kind of like we say need, probably not the English word, kind of when you kick someone with your knee. He was like, ow. I like by mistake, I was crawling up there and he was like, got upset. And then I was like, yeah, this is not the right moment. And I got so nervous. I'm like, I need to make him pancakes. He needs to be in a good mood. And I'm making pancakes, and this is when if you've seen the recording that we have, when I'm telling him, it's one of the most like feedback recordings or videos I've ever gotten. People are loving his reaction. He's so tired. He's not a morning person. And I'm asking him first, like, how do you feel life is? He's like, it's very good, good. It's very good. It's like, yeah, it's good life. Okay. Like, how would you, and I'm just trying to see what he says about life. And then I'm like, yeah, I have something to tell you. And then I was like, the hint is orange juice. And he's like, huh? Or I'm sitting there drinking it, and it takes him a moment. And then he's like, and I was like, yeah, but the test kind of like, so throughout the day, we were both like, it's not guaranteed that I'm pregnant, but he was kind of, I guess, not so sure about it. Like, he's like, until, I guess he was kind of in shock too. So we went and bought another test, did another brand and everything, did the test the next morning, and it was positive. So that's when I'm like, yep, having another one. I was not pregnant for 4 months. And if you know, I wasn't able to breastfeed for more than like 6 weeks. So that was like, some people are saying you can't get pregnant when you breastfeed. So I don't know how true it is or not, but I wasn't breastfeeding at that point. I think I had like 2 cycles before this happened. I think it was like that. 2 or 3, something like that. and then we're back. It feels kind of weird because I was like, I was just pregnant. It feels like it was just literally a few months ago. But honestly, so happy. I mean, it's my dream to have a bunch of kids. Sergio says this is the last time. I kind of feel like I gotta convince this man. Might be a third, but yeah, we'll see. But no more tight kids at this point. We need to get life. I mean, we were just brand new married when we had our first kid. We were brand new knowing each other, so we need a little bit more time to adjust to life, I think, now. And we'll see in the future. But like I said, I'm 36 this year, so I don't want to wait too many years if we have another one. But I think I would be just happy with 2 as well. I just never imagined 2. I've always said 3. So, but technically Sergio has another kid as well. So it's kind of 3, but also not. It's a little difficult since everyone is so young at this point. It's not the same, you know, relationship, but with the years it will hopefully change. Anyway, so that's how I found out I was pregnant. Let's take a little pause. By the way, it was super weird why I got pregnant 3 weeks after, like why my ovulation was there. I'm thinking it was maybe just hours, somehow like that. Because when you register your period, I track mine, maybe it wasn't the first day. Maybe it was like, oh, you drop a blood and the next day was really the first one. So when you postpone one day and then you have 48-hour window, I don't know how, but even the nurse was like, yeah, that's not really supposed to work. I was like, that's what I'm saying. But we did an internal ultrasound first, just to calculate which week I was in. They still determined that I was in the week of being pregnant, I guess, based on when my period was, not when my ovulation was. So I'm thinking, because I know when we were intimate, I wrote that down. So I'm like, yeah, I might be when I'm expected to give birth. In reality, based on when I'm actually got pregnant, I might be a week later. So we will see when this baby's coming out. I'm expected to give birth 23rd of June. So Ralf was born the 6th of May. So it's gonna be like 7 weeks later, or 6 weeks later. But if I go overtime like I did with Ralf, it could be July. But I hope I don't, because June is basically guaranteed warm in Sweden. May is not super warm yet, maybe end of May, but so if you know, I couldn't even post how swollen I was, because it would be one of those Kim Kardashian images of her feet. My feet looked like that. It was the ugliest feet I've ever seen in my life. That was like 2 days before birth, but it was bad. And I didn't use the compression socks. I don't know why I didn't use that much, but anyways, let's see. This is part of my project pan. It's just really pink. It's such an old Victoria's Secret lip gloss. Goes on clear and becomes super pink. You'll see. But I kind of take it off. It's just like plumping. So yeah, we're having another one. And yeah, still feel the same. I had like the same symptoms like last time. Only thing is, like, I feel like I need to take better care of my body and strength, because I have not worked out. I walk all the time. I take a lot of walks, long walks, and pretty good speed, I think. But I don't I don't like strength workouts. So I have started a little Pilates, but I don't know if it's good enough. And I started going to my naprapat. I don't know the English word. It's not a chiropractor. It's like a mix of pressure point, massage. I don't actually know what they actually include doing it, but we work a lot massage, but like torture massage, which I prefer. I don't like the too soft massage that doesn't really change your life. I like it to be like solving problems, even if it's extremely tough to get that type of massage as well. So yeah, but this time I feel like, I mean, I'm not excited at all about birth. I can almost sense a little bit of anxiety, but I will prepare. I have about 4 more months, and prepare even for the breastfeeding this time as well, a lot more. It was such a sad chapter that I feel like I'm scared I'm gonna just rely on feeling sad again about it, but there was a lot of benefits to bottle feeding as well. Other people could do it, like Sergio, and also we could have babysitters for an hour here and there. Like I didn't need to be home all the time. It's just not babysitters. I want to clarify, grandma and grandma on both sides was the only ones that actually took care of Ralf in the beginning, just for like an hour or two here and there. But yeah, so that was beneficial that even Sergio can get up at night and make the bottles. We just got the baby Brezza really late. I wish we had that one earlier, because it is the way of pushing a button versus we were boiling the bottles, and it was, and then the cleansing, we have the baby Brezza cleansing machine too, the dishwasher, so good. So if you're hesitating, get it, because you can always just sell it once you're done using it, so it's very worth it, I think. Okay, are we satisfied with today's? Let's do a little, and I can share a very short version of my birth story. I was planning on only using laughing gas, which is quite common here. Epidural is also common. Getting a planned C-section, I wouldn't say it's not as common as in the US, but it's more, you need like a reason. You can have the reason that you're scared too, but it's, I guess, more common to give natural births here. My siblings that I share their stories, well, it was actually quite different. One sister had a super long, tortured delivery. Another one was like, she had 4 kids, and she was like, it was in and out, 4-hour deliveries. It's not that bad, basically. My mom had 5 kids. She was also like, yeah, it's not that bad. My mom is a midwife as well. But if you're pregnant, I don't want to scare you, but it was the torture of a lifetime. It was the worst. But here's the thing. So we had planned to do a induction, you call it, right? So I was 9 days over, so I was week 41 plus 2, and we were part of a study. So they said, come in. They asked us the night before, hey, do you want to be part of the study? That means you get to come in at a certain time, you get an extra ultrasound, and then you get to get induced, and then they do a lottery of if you go home or not. The study was to study how it is to be at home when you get induced. Usually, I guess you don't. So it's common in the Nordic countries, and this is a study they were doing. So we said yes to the study because I was like, there's so many benefits of doing it. And we got there, and when they did the ultrasound, Ralf was measuring a little too little with like a centimeter or millimeter maybe. I think it was the head, I don't remember, but with the measure, but she's like, yeah, it's too little just for the study. It's not anything unhealthy or anything, it's just for the study. And then I had very little water or fluid in my belly. That was also like good that they were, so it was good that we did this because we found out that, so it's good for them to know. And then I had skyrocket high blood pressure, but I was so nervous. I don't know why, I was so nervous this morning. And we get there like 9 a.m. They're running all these tests and things, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna induce you with a balloon. They said, and other told me it's painful. It did not hurt at all. And apparently I was open 2 centimeters. So I guess they enter a balloon and then they fill it up with water, I think. And you just have like a little, like a straw down your leg. They put tape. And then they're like, now we just wait to see how it's gonna put pressure and expand everything. And we went into another room. It's not a delivery room, it's like the waiting room. They're like first-time mothers are usually 24 to 48 hours before anything will happen. So you guys relax, we're gonna run a few tests because of blood pressure. Sergio went home to get our bags, and yeah, so that's what we did. And he came back, we ate lunch. So I remember at noon, we eating lunch, and after that we talk for maybe 20 minutes, and I start feeling exactly like period cramps. For some reason, I thought when you give birth, you feel your entire stomach, but no, exactly for period. Very, very, very low. It's not the belly, it's like low. And I started feeling that, and it just kept increasing and increasing. And then I was like, it's each third minute, clocking exactly like delivery, or not delivery, contractions. And it increased every 3 minutes. And you have the screen, you can see the numbers go up. It will kind of tell you when you're about to have a contraction. And it just started. So after we ate lunch, we were there at 9, did a bunch of tests, we're having lunch, relaxed. And I'm in that room until 4 p.m. So it increased at a like okay rate, but it was so fast. Like, I can't explain how I felt like this was the 20 minutes of my life. Every 3 minutes I'm like, okay, it's time again. I was like, oh yeah, I can have like a heating pillow. We're like, should we call for them? I did have the TENS machine. It's like patches on your lower back that you can click, and they kind of vibrate or give a little electricity to make the pain less. You don't only use this in delivery, but I had this, and then, sorry, I'm like pausing my makeup here. And then it started getting worse. And then we like kind of called for them. They came in to check the balloon. She could just pull it out. And she's like, you open 5 centimeters, we can take you to the delivery room. And that, even the walk to the delivery room with all the bags, I was like, oh, I gotta stop. Like, it's a contraction. And getting in there, I was in that room for 2.5 hours, and Ralf was born. And I guess because I had such a good response to the induction, it was such a quick delivery, which I guess that's good. But I was planning to have these candles or these little lamps. I was gonna take a bath. I was gonna practice the breathing. It's gonna slowly increase. It felt like I was running a marathon. Everything was happening so quick, and it was so painful. When I got into that room, she immediately showed me the laughing gas machine. So you breathe in, and the first couple breaths you feel all the pain, and then you kind of get a little ooh. And I only liked it because it did relax me, and I was almost like taking too little. So I almost tried to take more, because I know they stop a lot of women because they're obsessed with that sometimes. Some people get nauseous about it. I did not. I was like, yeah, it really relaxed me. And then you have 2.5 minutes of preparing for the next time. And between those 2.5 or 3 minutes, you, like, if you need to use the restroom, plan it out. So you say, hey, I need to just use the restroom before the next time. And the worst thing that ever happened, I think, was when I went to the restroom. I had, sorry for the information, but I did take like laxative that morning because I did not want to give birth when I poop. I did not want to poop when I give birth, I mean. So I did take, so my stomach was kind of active, but I also was like, yeah, I guess I didn't mind that, but I was on the toilet having one contraction. I remember everyone outside was surrounding me and pushing and helping. I just sat there, and I don't even know how to describe a contraction. It's like, it's not, I always thought birth would hurt down there, if you know what I mean. There was no pain down there. It's literally just period cramps that are the worst of your life. Could also hurt your back a little bit. But then, I guess when you push, that's when you actually feel so-called the ring of fire, when the head is there, you just need to wait till you can push it out. Anyways, everything was going like flash. Imagine just these flashes, how fast this is. 2.5 hours. I went out, I threw up, and I knew that there's a specific part when the child passes a specific bone, I think, you can throw up. So I knew that meant I was pretty far along. And then I also, she checked me, she's like, you're 10 centimeters open. And I didn't have, like, I didn't need to push out. I had contractions, and at the end of them, I would just, and they're like, no, you're supposed to relax. And I was like, I really feel like I should push. And I guess I was right. He was pushed down, and then I sat on the chair, they call it, or a stool. It's like a stool on the floor. And Sergio sat behind me. I'd seen that this looked really comfortable. You get all the pressure down there. And I had 2 contractions, and then she said, just stand on your knees. And she said, don't push. This is the ring of, or she didn't say, I asked, this is the ring of fire. Because that was literally like, oh my God, I'm dying. But it's not that bad. It's not that, it's a 30 seconds of your life. I'd learned this before. I was okay, 30 seconds, I got this. And then I just pushed, kind of like you just push your abs now. Like that's exactly what it did. And he just came out, and I put him up. They're like, okay, go back up to the bed. That was it. So I had an extremely fast, but it was almost too fast for me to feel at peace. It was, my body was rushing way faster than I was, maybe because of being induced, I don't know. And in this entire process, I was like, I'm never doing this again. I even ended up feeling freaked out. I kept saying, no, like I can't do this more. I want to cry, but I can't cry. It's really weird. You really want to cry, but you're like, it's like, I can't even describe it. And then I'm like, if we ever have another child, it's surgery. Like, I'm not doing this again. Oddly, here we are. But I think now you just know it's not going to be a fun thing. It's not going to be fun to give birth. It's not going to be fun to be in the pain. But it is kind of cool too. And I want to prepare more. And also just, we'll see how it goes. I could do epidural, but I feel like now if it can delay, that's one of the reasons. And I've heard other stories that don't go well. But I also think that if I did this in 2.5 hours in the delivery room, I can do this again. So it was so fast. So we will see. But yeah, that was the birth of Ralph. And now it's happening again. And no, we don't have a name. We need to figure that part out. But yeah, that was a little story time.